The next thing I'm going to bring in here are my interests and some tax information here. So in cell B20, I'm looking to bring in my interest expense. So if you go back to a few videos before, we were looking at our loans and we had calculated previously how much interest we were spending, right, each year on that loan. So I want to bring that data back into my income statement sheet. So for the interest expense, I'm going to hit equal. I'm going to hit a negative, and I'll tell you why in a second. I'm going to go to my loan schedule sheet and click cell B6, because that's the interest that we're paying for that loan in year one. And I'm going to go ahead and hit enter there. Now, the reason I use a negative is because on the loan schedule sheet, this was a negative value there. And I don't really want it to show as a negative on my income statement, at least not at this point, right? So I just wanted to bring that in as a regular 30,835 because I'm counting these as expenses. So I'm going to add them into my costs. So that is cell B27. And then for cell, let's see, B28, just right here. We're going to go ahead and subtract. So we're going to do our profit or our operating profit minus our interest, right? Because we're spending more on the interest here. So far in year one, we're down almost $7,000. And again, I can go ahead and copy these across. And again, you do want to make sure that they are coming in correctly here. So you can double check that this copied in correctly and copy this across. And again, double check that, you know, all your formulas are lining up here and that they're working as they should. And these look good. So now we're bringing in our, we did our depreciation and now we just did our interest expenses for the loan as well. I do want to bring in tax here too. So again, we have a lot of things we have to consider here. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll up top and I'm going to estimate my tax rate to be 32%. So I'm going to enter that here. And then as I scroll down on cell B30, I'm going to use an if function. So I'm going to enter it as this. So start my if function. And I'm going to say that if B28 is greater than 0, then what we're going to do is we're going to take cell B28 and we're going to multiply it by cell F5, which is our tax rate. I'm going to fix that cell F5 because I do want to copy this over. Otherwise, the answer is 0. So why am I using a if function here and not just a multiplication function? The reason would be is that if I have a negative income for the first year, I would not pay taxes on that, right? We don't want to multiply a negative number by the tax rate. It wouldn't make sense. So we're using an if function to say that, hey, only do this calculation if we made a profit. So that's why we have this if function here. So that's why for this one, you're getting $0. We're not paying any taxes that first year because at least according to our chart, we're going to have a negative income. And we can go ahead and again, we can copy that over. So it looks like in our final year, our taxes would be around $200,000 there. And then the final thing we're going to do is figure out our after-tax profit. So we've paid our taxes. What do we now have for a profit, right? So we're kind of slowly deducting all of our costs. We're kind of breaking them apart. We did the research costs first, then we did our general costs like utilities and things like that. We've talked about depreciation, interest on the loan, taxes now. So there's a lot of different costs that are coming in. And we're just doing them one at a time. That's all we're doing here. So our final piece in cell B, let's see, 31, we're going to go ahead and click cell B28. So our final profit, and we're going to subtract whatever else we have to pay in taxes. Now, for the first year, it's not going to change, right, because we're not paying any taxes. But for the rest of the years, you will see that change, right? So in our final year, even though our initial profit was showing at, you know, $650,000, we're really only looking so far at around $429,000 after all of our costs and taxes and other expenses, again, so far. So this is where we'll end this video here. And you can see how we can really kind of keep building these sheets and making them more detailed as we add in different expenses and different parts.